Money buys power. South African political funding exposed. Money talks louder than ever in South African politics. We're going to be uncovering the truth behind the political funding. Whoever funds you controls you. South Africa's 50% poverty rate. Half the population lives in poverty. Yet 335 million went out to fund politicians to go out there and try and buy and persuade you to vote for them. We're going to uncover this and talk about how controversial this is and understand who are these people that are funding these politicians and what do they get to gain from funding politicians. We all know that white monopoly capital in South Africa, which is a group of people that happen to live in Stellenbosch and own majority of the land and companies in South Africa, they are featuring the most in terms of funding the political parties in South Africa. And as a result of that, are these politicians going to be able to implement policies and decisions that will benefit the majority when they are only funded by a minority of people that happen to be white monopoly capital? We look at the ANC. They're funded by apartheid companies that were funded by the apartheid government. Naspers gave them 2 million. They're funded by mining companies as well that continue to send out raw minerals out of our country that cause this nation not to have jobs for young people. The ANC's funding came up to 46 million for these elections. Don't forget, political parties also received 300 million from the IEC, or rather, National Treasury, for them to share according to whatever proportion they would have won. And they get to use that money together with these donations that they receive from companies. What's quite shocking is that the DA, a political party that has been known for oppressing people in the Western Cape, they received 126 million in terms of funding. Most of the people that funded them, white monopoly capital again. How are we expecting things to change when the funders are exactly the same? What's shocking is that many of these political parties that receive these funds are part of what is called a multi-party charter. Basically, the DA, the IFP, Action SA, the Freedom Front, they are all part of the same group of people that fund them. And 77 million has been poured into this. One of the biggest donors appears to be a father and son, Nikki and Ernest Oppenheimer. They donated 40 million to the DA and IFP. We're also seeing that the economic freedom fighters have also received funding from mining companies. They plan on nationalizing mines, yet Harmony Gold Mining gave them 1.3 million, and they also received the total of 2.6 million in terms of funding. They often do not disclose much of their funding. We're also seeing that a new political party, Rise Mzansi, which should not be confused with Arise South Africa. Rise Mzansi has received 31 million in terms of donations. They've received donations from very questionable people in our country. But 30 million for a new political party. How does that even make sense when political parties that have been running or functioning for many years are not even funded by some of these people? Action SA has also received quite a bit of money, coming up to 39 million that they've received for them to go out and campaign. And here's something that's very odd. A political party that did not even qualify to be part of the elections, Change Starts Now, they've received 35 million from who? The same group of funders. I have a question. Are these people laundering money, or are these people trying to persuade you to vote for actually the same political parties that will do the same things? It's important to note that our people in South Africa, many of the political opponents often kill each other. They fight one another in order for them to win these votes. Yet, the people that fund them are exactly the same. It's as though white monopoly capital is making people in South Africa fight each other just for them to win the political power. And at the end of the day, they can't do much about it because it is the same funders, the same group of funders that fund these people. This is scary because we're seeing the legacy of apartheid play out. As black people in this country, majority, we're looking for economic opportunities. It's unfortunate that the people that are funding political parties that are supposed to be giving or fighting for these economic opportunities, they are all beneficiaries of white monopoly capital, beneficiaries of the apartheid regime. Beneficiaries and perpetuators who funded the apartheid government are now funding many of these political parties. I ask you to be wise when it comes to voting. Arise South Africa is a political party that has not been funded by any white monopoly capital. In fact, we refused when they approached us for funding. Why? Because we don't want to be controlled. We don't want to be puppets of white monopoly capital that continue to lie to people, and when we get into power, we don't do what the people have sent us to do. We chose to have a very difficult campaign, refusing funds so that we stand up from the truth from the get-go. We refuse to let money buy any form of power in the political arena. Funders, when they fund you, they want to influence policy. They want to make sure that the policy actually benefits their interests. They perpetuate the status quo where 50% of our people still live in poverty. They perpetuate and want that to continue. They want to grow the capital that they've got for them and their generations only. It's only a few people that continue to do this. Their interests get represented, whereas majority of our people are persuaded by free t-shirts and politicians and musicians performing, and they end up voting for the wrong people. That's why it's important that you share this video with as many people as possible. Yes, click on the share button right now. Let people know that when they go to vote, they should not vote for people that are funded by white monopoly capital, because nothing will change in this nation. Things will remain the same. They should rather vote for political parties that are funded by people, we the people. Arise South Africa was funded by myself as a young entrepreneur and many other young entrepreneurs and young business people. We even exposed and showed you our bank account. You can find those videos right here on this YouTube channel. Why? Because we are honest about what we're doing. Ultimately, as we go to this election, white monopoly capital money will be parading and ensuring that they are convincing majority of our people to vote for them. I want to ask you, vote for the truth. Conscientize people to vote for the truth. If you want to see change in this nation, ensure that you vote for the truth. Don't be swayed or persuaded by political parties that receive funds and think that because they have a lot of money, they will govern correctly. They have a lot of money because they've been bought. They have a lot of money because their funders are controlling their policies. They have a lot of money because they're going to continue supporting the interests of those people that fund them. It's important that we, the people, change the future of our nation. We cannot eradicate poverty by trying to continue with the same systems that perpetuated apartheid. It's important that we vote for political parties that are not funded by these people. Political parties that were started and that are funded by we, the people. Arise South Africa is on all 9 provincial ballots. Let's go out there on the 29th and ensure that we remind these people that we will not be bought, that our votes are not going to be bought, that our choices will not be dictated to by white monopoly capital that sits in Stellenbosch and expects us to vote for them because they poured in money into these political parties. We will not be lied to. We are going to vote for political parties that represent the truth, that represent what we stand for, and that will ensure that justice and our economy produces jobs and prevails in our nation. Vote for Arise South Africa in this coming election. On all 9 provincial ballots, we are there. Arise South Africa. Put an X there and let's ensure that we change our nation for the better. Our manifesto is available. You can download it. We'll put the link in the comment section. Thank you very much.